Okay. So
Great.
we should be okay.
Hey. Well, I'm so excited to talk with you and to talk with you about tennis and your sister and your family. And thank you.
And I love talking about that.
Topics, great topics. So, first, why don't you start off by telling me, like, how did you get started, or well, like, where were you raised? What's your family story? Maybe start there.
All right. I was raised in Roy, Utah. I come from a family of 10, 7 girls, 3 boys. And Ardene and I were the last of the 10. So we were 9 and I was number 10, but we're identical twins. Um, my mom said she stopped having children when they started coming double. But she always says we were the icing on the cake.
I bet
So
that's true.
we grew up in a big family in a very small house, but my memories are great about my childhood. My mom was amazing, and my dad was a hard worker. So, we did great. So that's kind of where we come from.
I love that. And did you guys, you and Ardeen, like, what kind of things were you involved with as kids?
Well, we love sports, period. Her and I played softball on high school and, junior high and that. And we both played volleyball too on both high school and junior high. And, never played tennis. Wasn't something we ever did. And I was not quite 40, probably 38. And she called me one day and said, Arlene, you got to start playing tennis. And I knew she'd been playing for a couple of years. I said, I don't know, Ardene. And, I was always the one that had to work. So she had a little, even though she had 9 kids, she had a little more spare time. But she goes, come on, try it. And my husband said, you never do anything unless you know you're really good at it. And so it was a challenge. And I thought, yeah, I'll show you. And so I started when I lived in Scottsdale, when I started my tennis, and didn't really start on a league for a couple of years, and then started playing league and loved it, and could play with Ardene, and she was very good though. She was a 4-5 player, um, and she was just yeah, she was hilarious because she would, like I said, the day before she had her ninth or her last baby, her sixth section, she was playing. So anyway, they were all dying, going, "I can't believe you're out here playing tennis." So
Jen, there's a woman who is very pregnant that we just played against, and
mm,
in the 18 and overs, and it's like, oh my word, I, I don't know how you're doing that. I mean,
mhm.
it's amazing.
Yeah, and here she was, probably 39, I guess, 38, 39. And I just thought, "You are nuts." I didn't know. I could understand it because when I was pregnant too, I played softball. I was the fast pitcher, and I slid into third base, 7.5 months pregnant, and the whole stand was almost on the field with me. "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot."
Oh,
So when that just kind of takes over. You forget reasonableness doesn't leave when I get in that competitive situation.
right, right. Sounds like there was no competition whatsoever between you guys. Healthy.
Oh, we were terribly. I mean, we laugh about it because our dean was the catcher. I was the pitcher. And in high school, they would make me practice indoors. And so they would put our dean out on the pitching mound to warm up, and she doesn't pitch. So they were going, man, why do people say she's so good? She's not very good. And she's like, it's embarrassing, Arlene. And I said, why is it embarrassing to you? They think you're me. I should be embarrassed. She goes, well, I'm embarrassed. I hate doing that. So then when I would come out, and because she usually had the catchers thing on, they couldn't figure out that we were twins for a long time. And they would and I'd start pitching. They're like, that is not she wasn't pitching like that before. So we laugh about that. So we had a lot of fun doing stuff like that. So
So did Ardene live in Salt Lake or
She lived in Farmington.
okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
like where did she play out of when she was playing tennis in elite?
She played out of Lagoon. At
Okay.
that time, Lagoon allowed you to play out of there. And then in the summer, out of the park there. So, and yeah, so she, yeah, she, yeah, she was a real good competitor and in everything. So, uh, we used to laugh. We'd walk together, and I mean, we were constantly passing, up, back and up, and she's like, and finally I said, Ardene, are you trying to kill me? And she goes, I think you're trying to kill me. And I said, I'm just trying to catch up with you. She goes, well, I'm trying to catch up with you.
That is
So that was just always the case. People used to laugh that we would do that. And I said, I'm not trying to walk that. You're killing me. She goes, you're killing me. I said,
love that.
but, but yeah, she was good. She, but normally we tried to, we never played the same positions and different things. And so we, yeah, Ardene was probably physically stronger than me. She really was. She had just her legs were stronger. She never had knee problems by that, where I was having a lot of knee problems. So I don't know. I was the runt, so maybe that was the cause of it. I don't know. I told her she got most of the nutrients.
You're competitive even.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she was quite. She could out hike any guy and fast. Oh man, yeah, she was pretty amazing. So
Awesome. I love that. I love that. So you started to play when you lived in Scottsdale, right? Tennis.
uh-huh.
And I know that some of your daughters play. Um,
Yes.
tell me about tennis in your own family. Or maybe even in your extended family as well. Like who all plays tennis?
Oh, nobody else plays except for the Bullards, our Dean's children, but they don't really play much anymore either. Uh, Shannon played until last year. She didn't end up playing, I don't think, because Joy stopped playing. But Shannon and Michael, uh, her son, who's a doctor, plays tennis, and he has had hip problems, but he played for University of Utah, and so did Shannon. So they're both very good tennis players, obviously. But Michael, I think, if it hadn't been for hip problems, could have gone pretty far. But he wanted to be a doctor. I don't know why. So, but yeah, and his children play tennis. Two of his kids are really good tennis players. Micah, who's you know, has got diabetes. She plays, and so does Nate, his son. So and he's very good. So
That's great.
anyway,
Um,
but the rest of my family, just Carly and Rachel, play.
well, that's great. Well, I know you're Rachel and Carly and they're great
Mm.
players. So
Yeah, they are.
it's great to see that. So tell me a little bit about the tournament. How did that get started? Maybe
Okay.
about Ardene, because I was telling my friend Lindsay about, Ardene and the tournament. Anyway, like how did that start? Who started it? The point of it?
Well, when Ardene died, within 2-3 months, her family and had talked to me and said, Arlene, we want to do something to for my mom, to remember my mom. And what do you think? And we talked about tennis, obviously. And they said, our mom loved tennis so much. Maybe we should do a tennis tournament. So she called Ardene's old partner, Joy, and was on the committee with me and the family members. And so we decided we'd start the tournament that very next year. So that was our first tournament. We had, I don't, had quite a few players at that time, maybe, I don't remember exactly, maybe 200, 250, which we were thrilled with because it was our first year. But then it grew 50% the next year. And we were like, okay, this is getting, so we have to involve the Utah tennis, USTA, and Lori was great. What's that?
Did the tournament start?
And well, this is the 14th year. So I believe 13, which I don't understand because our dean died in 2009 in August. So it had to be 2010, wouldn't it? So 13 years.
Yeah, wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's an amazing length of time. I mean, that's
Hmm. So that's what really all started it. And then we said, okay, we have to have a cause, you know, and because our dean's oldest granddaughter, um, Micah, was diagnosed at 16 months with JDRF. And so
and that's
Ardene learned how to take care of her, give her shots, all of that, because she was the grandma and so I was really impressed because Ardene and I both hate shots so bad that to give them would be, but she knew she had to because at that point they didn't have all the things they have now. So, and at 16 months, it's pretty tough.
did what advancements have you seen in juvenile diabetes just in the time that you've been involved with JDRF in the last 15?
Wow. There has been, I mean, I probably don't even know half of it. So like all I can tell you is that Micah would never be able to compete like she does now because I mean, all night long, her mom had to get up in the middle of the night because she would crash and not know, and she kept having to check her. And now with the device on her and all of that, that has come into effect where she doesn't have to worry about it. It's on her phone. Andrea put it on her phone so that it beeps at her alarm, makes alarm saying, hey, she's crashing. You need to go in. And so all of those type of things has helped, you know, her mother obviously, and also when she's at school she can see when Mike is not eating right, or different things because she would have to remind her, you got to go eat something now, you can't wait. And sometimes Micah, being a teenager, it's hard. And so things like that I think are pretty amazing. And now she can wear the pump where you can't see it, and Micah feels like she has so much more freedom now.
That's
Yeah.
so does the tournament also benefit USTA? Like does it?
Yes, yes, a percentage of it, and I'm not sure how much, but it also goes to USTA. Yes.
Right. I would love to ask, Lori, like is
And,
it?
yeah, and ask Lori. Say Arlene wasn't sure, so
Yeah, I mean, I just wondered, just because
yeah, my understanding it does. And that's why she's been great to work with. I can't give her more accolades. I really can't because I don't know what we would have done without her. It was funny when we first started. After the second or third year, we said we got to involve her. This is just getting too many for us. We can't play out of one place. We're going to have to play out of a number of places. And when she came in, we said we want to do it the same week, every year on the first week of August. She said, "Oh no way, we do juniors something that week, and we have a big participants of that." And I said, "Do you have 1,000?" Well, no. And I said, "Well, I think we can trump you then." And I think she thought we were kidding. And then she got in, and she's been so good. And all of you guys that have helped her these past 13 years, I am just so overwhelmed by how good and how kind everybody has been to us. And
Well, a lot of that is because it is, well, it's such an amazing tournament. It is the most fun tournament out there. I love it because it is a sanctioned tournament. So you
Mhm.
still have points and things like that for it, but the nature of it is fun. Like you guys put so much care, and I'd love to hear more about like how you guys have gifts that you give to the players at every point along the way, which is so fun. Like, what today's Tuesday? I wonder what we get, for the winner today. Or you got so much thought. You have yogurt that you prepare ahead of time, frozen yogurt that you give to the players. The nature of the tournament is so uplifting and it's fun. And I imagine that a lot of that is a tribute to your sister and the legacy that she's leaving behind in the nature of tennis and family. Tell me a little preparation that goes into the planning of the tournament, because I know that there's
Wow, it is a lot. We start probably in February, March when they start now. Because I've moved further away, I haven't been doing as much, but they start in February, March for that year. And the meetings start, they decide, they used to have pros come, but now they don't do that. They want to contribute more to the open tennis, open whatever, so they could pay them. And it just was costing so much money that they said, let's not do that. We can give more to JDRF, more to the, you know, um, Utah tennis, all of that. And so that changed, but they decide on, shirts. We said we want the best shirts out there that you get at a tournament, not just a cotton shirt. And we want ones that they'll wear because it also advertises us and hopes, that people, and they always say, we get the best shirts. I wear them all the time. And I'm like, you're supposed to. Thank you, you know. And so we decided then we want it to be the most fun tournament that everybody every year wants to, that'll arrange their vacation around. That was our idea, is to make sure that they, and they, it's so funny because I have a lot of parents say, oh, I do that for my kids. They're like, we're not missing this tournament, mom. We gotta, so they arrange their vacation around that. So that's been a real fun thing. And so we wanted to give a prize at every time, even if it's not that big, but it's something, that we can say, hey, great job. And so, we decided that had to be part of the fun. And then the yogurt, because Kim, Lonnie's, wife now, owned a yogurt place. So we were able to do yogurt, but she sold that. So, but she, has been able to use the machine still. I don't know, probably how much longer we didn't get to do it last year. And I can't remember. One of her machines broke, so she couldn't do it. But anyway,
still like gave
so
away and like those little frozen treat. Anyway, you still had
yeah,
lovely
yeah.
treats for the players, and you've just done such a great job of making it like everybody is smiling in that tournament. People are happy to be there. It's just
Hmm.
that great blend of competition, but it's fun. Look, most of it, maybe some of the kids will go on and play in college or whatever, but like most of us are club players. Like this needs to
Right.
be competitive, but it needs to be fun. And if it's
Exactly.
the only way you're doing it wrong, as if you're not.
Well, and that the thing is, and that's what I mean, when we started, probably wasn't as competitive the first year or two, but every year, and now we're the number one to play in for competitiveness and for, fun. And we wanted it to be both, and we wanted it to be a family affair too. And that was important to us because, oh, sorry, wow. Family was so important to our dean. So they said, we have to make it a family affair that everybody wants to come. And that's why they've done, mother daughter, or mother son, or, whatever it may be, to get them involved. And so yeah, that's kind of how it started. And it's just grown and grown ever since. And I know Lori's like, it can't grow anymore, Arlene. We can't get any more places. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. So
Mother of inventions, so you never know.
yeah, yeah. So
Did pickleball last year, I think. Was it last year or the year
yeah, Year before, I think they started. Yes, last year I think was the second year, if I remember right. But it looks like it's going to be even bigger this year, which I think is cool to involve all these other people that you know are so competitive and want a venue. And I think it's great that we're adding that. I just feel bad for Lori. I think the family's doing the pickleball so that Lori doesn't have to worry about it this year, but she may have had to take it over. I don't know.
But I just think it's great. And I just think that what an amazing legacy for your sister,
Yeah.
to have something like that with her name on it. Like I know I
Yeah.
have shirts that I've worn from the event. And I'll have like that those tank tops you did one year that have "of love" on the T in the back. I love that shirt. I wear it all the time. But I've got your sister's name right there on it, and I've seen it from time to time and out in the community. And I just
Mm,
think not enough people know about your sister
yeah.
and about enough about your family and what an asset this is to the community. And I know it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for
It
everybody.
is a lot of work for everyone. It is. And I mean they put, when they give the backpacks or whatever they're called, the bags together. I mean the family has to they all get together 2 or 3 nights and work on them all night long to get everything in them. They have to go to all the different places to see if they'll sponsor them or give us something to put in them, and it's a lot of work. Um,
Well,
and so
you do an amazing job, and I think that I've even heard of people to Utah to participate in this
Yeah,
tournament.
in fact, we had a number of them from all over the country last year. So these coming to the Open, these really good players, um, and that was fun to watch some of them and to realize, wow, they came all this way, and that's what we're hoping is to have that kind of competitiveness because it's fun for people to come and watch
I
too. You know.
know about that because I know a lot of like us, like club players that just enjoy,
Mhm.
or maybe just at the club or just in the park with your friends. I don't think enough people know about the open bracket. And
No, I don't think they do either, and it's starting to finally get out there, but I did tell Lonnie last year, I said, "I think you need to let people know," because I said, "When I tell people, they'll oh, what? What's that?"
yeah,
And so I said, "These," he goes, "Oh, yeah, I mean, I can't remember what, but he was ranked in the top 200, which is pretty darn good to start getting these players to come play and the money has helped promote that, and he says, "I'm hoping to get more and more here." So, and
well,
he says, these pros at the places that know him have put the word out too, which is helpful. So,
well, and I just think that, us as a community too, like if we go in and watch and support and, it will help all of that as well, because
absolutely.
I love to play tennis, but I like to watch tennis too. I like both.
I
So
do too. I do too. I love them both. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, "Ugh, that's so boring doing this."
me
I
too.
said, "It isn't to me." I do.
Um, so that's so great. Let me just think. Okay, what um okay, so is there okay, I would just love also, let's see, I just am reviewing my notes for just a quick
Okay.
I don't want to forget something. Um, what is it? Okay, this is something I was kind of curious about. You
Sorry.
and the family, because I know you have a, a large family that
Yeah.
put all of this together. And that's probably another reason why you could do this at this, because you have so many little soldiers. I've been working the tournament before, either as an official or doing whatever, and I've seen like grandkids and cousins and just so many
Yeah.
people.
People. Hmm.
What is that like as a large family to work on something like this together?
I think especially the first few years, it was very healing for all of us to kind of come together because of our dean, and for her family too. For me, it was all of the above and tennis, and the love of tennis too. But um, to have my sisters work at the booths and do the things that I love that they cared that much and would come and do it. Um, because they know nothing about tennis, you know. They don't play tennis, they know nothing. And Coral, my sister, would come with me, and I would just have to explain how we score, how we, you know, so that it, you know, I would work the desk one day, or, you know, half a day or whatever it was. And it was fun to see her get excited too, you know, because she's competitive, but she just never played tennis. So
What, I love that. And, yeah, I, well, and that brings kind of another question. Like, I'm sure there've been some hardships along the way too. I mean, that's a big undertaking, you know, and how have you navigated some of those challenges?
um, you know, I know that like Anna, who's kind of she's the daughter, one of the daughters, and she's been kind of in charge. She's kind of is the one that, you know, is the one you go to, is in charge. And um
Dean's daughter.
and she has small kids, you know, she has 4 small kids, and it's been a real stress on her and her family, and but she won't let go of it, you know, and we're like, you need to, you know, delegate more. You need to do this, you need to do that. And so she has learned to delegate better, but um, every year she says she's not going to do it again, and she does. She goes, I can't let go of it. I just can't. And I'm like, I get it. And part of it is that she feels like she's let go on part of her mom.
Get that. I get that.
And and I get it. So I said, well, just let us help you in any way we can. And she says, I'm getting a lot of help and I'm doing better. She goes, really, the first 5 years, you know, 7 years, it was the hardest for her. Now she says, I feel like I have it down. And she says, with Lori and that taking over, that the one part of it has helped me a lot. And she says, and so the rest, I feel like, okay, I've got this down. She says, I've learned to figure out how to delegate the rest. And I said, I know how hard, because she's a control freak. Um, you know how that goes. And so I laugh about it because she's, you know, but I love that she is so, you know, dedicated, and all the daughters are. So, you know, one daughter has taken over. I used to do all the shirts and all the prizes. And when I moved, Shannon took that over. So she does all that. Melissa, the oldest daughter, does all the sponsor. I mean, she goes and you know, gets uh, gift certificates and different from businesses that, you know, donate and things like that. And then she goes with her dad, and so does Anna with her dad, to all these businesses to get sponsors, big sponsors. And that's been really hard. I mean, because Lonnie, of course, is, you know, remarried, and it's a little of a hardship on that, you know. After all these years, he's still so involved, and he's wanted to back out. And I'm like, that's not gonna happen, Lonnie, because they donate because of you. Because everybody knows who Lonnie is.
Well,
So that's kind of a hardship.
you mean
Huh?
you mean he's Ardene's husband? Know who he is?
He's Ardene, yeah, he's Ardene's husband, and, you know, he's remarried, but you can imagine that. I mean, and she's been great. She's, you know, tried to help too, and that, but I'm sure that's kind of a hardship also, you know, because it's like you, after this many years, you kind of want your husband to move on, and vice versa.
Right, right.
So,
Well,
so
it's yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of dynamic parts to it that make it
yeah,
challenging.
yes, and so a lot of that is very challenging, and but they still, I'll ask him, so are you ready to let go of it? No, no.
Well, as
They that one part is stressful, but the other part they love so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, as a participant, I just think that you've captured something very special because
Mhm.
you've got the fun, the competition, the
Mm,
gifts, the I've made so many
thank
friends
you.
at that tournament. I've made so many friends. I I've loved meeting your family members, just, you know, in the process of just being around. It's just you've really captured something very, very lovely. And I
You're
just
not you're kind to say that, and we hope we do.
and I'm not the only one because I've heard a lot of people say that. I've worked the tournament. People just say this is such a happy tournament. This is such
Mhm.
a it's almost like a breath of fresh air. I mean, tournaments are fun. Like it's always fun to
Mhm.
kind of competition and show up and try
Mhm.
all of that, implement the things you're working on.
Uh-huh.
Very special about this tournament. And I think because it supports such great causes, it commemorates
Mhm.
a special person, and you've got a large family that really puts it together. There's just some magic there. So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
thank you. And I think that's what they're afraid of. They said, we're afraid if we just let the USTA, it'll become like a regular tournament. And we don't want it to become a regular. We want it to be the same type of tournament that people look forward to every year, that have fun, that come, with a smile and feel like, I mean, I've had a lot of them say what I love, one of the things I love best about this tournament, it's for a good cause. We're not just playing to be playing, we're playing and raising money for such a good cause. And I feel that's important too. So I feel like we've combined a lot of different aspects, and so they're really afraid that they probably will never let go, and I hope they don't, and they're letting their kids and Ardene's grandkids know, when we get old, you will take it over, and they're training them.
you guys have had have a very special touch on something that's already very special, tennis, but you've put a very special personalized touch on something.
Mhm,
And you've done a
mhm.
great job.
Well, thank you.
So thank you. Okay, well, I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to share. Maybe just to kind of close, like, is there anything that you'd like the world to know about Ardene, about you, about tennis? What
Mm,
is I'm sure there's so many special things about your sister that you'd love people to
yeah.
like. What do you just wish that you could tell everybody about Ardene, I guess?
That's a good question. Other than, yeah, I'll rave on about her because she was pretty amazing, and she had 6 of her own kids and then adopted 3.
Oh, I did.
So she had 9 kids, and 3 were from Moldova, the country of Moldova. And her and Lonnie, when they were younger, and he was making a lot of money, he said, we need to give back. And so they always knew that they would adopt, but they never thought they would adopt 3, but they were all siblings or brothers. And to me, that tells you a lot about who they are. And Ardene was very giving. It was she, you know, I hope I'm kind, but she was probably 10 times better than me. But anyway, she was really giving and kind, and it just seemed to come so natural to her. And it wasn't easy adopting these 3 boys. They didn't speak English. The oldest was 7, the youngest was 4. Um, and so to take them in and to have to for them to be able to communicate with them was very difficult. And they came from an orphanage that they were abused. So it was a difficult thing for their family. But their family embraced them, and I just really feel like, I mean, one of them has died, was killed by police. I mean, they struggled, these boys, but the oldest one has done the best. Um, And the second one, the leak, has been in and out of jail. And I mean, this has been an ongoing thing for that family, but they still love him. They still do the best they can, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Wow.
So,
That,
so that's
well, Ardene sounds like an amazing woman,
she.
and
You would have loved her.
sure I would have because I know I love you so dear.
Yeah,
I
I feel the same about you.
know, and you love my daughter. You love my
Oh, I love her.
I
How could you not, though? She radiates just like you.
no, she's a sweet girl. I feel very fortunate, but
Yes, you should. But
loving.
she's very fortunate too.
Well, when I went to Utah, you were one of the first tennis people that I met. Like Rachel was one of the very first, I think, your
Uh
daughter.
huh.
And
Right.
I met Angie, and then I met
Uh
you.
huh.
So
Wow, like, I didn't realize that. That's so fun.
that was like when I first started, I had a tennis racket when I was younger. I wouldn't say like I never played tennis, but I didn't play it well and I never had lessons or anything like that. So when I met you,
That's shocking.
we took a lesson together and hit it. I don't know if you remember, we were practicing serve and I just remember watching you being like, I want to hit like her. I want to be
Oh,
like
you're so cute.
we were at the courts at uh in Midway. What's it called? Dutch Fields. We are at that.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Anyway,
I do remember that.
yep.
Sweet
Anyway,
Midway at the time. That's right. I do remember that.
I just think that you are just such a lovely person, and from everything you shared with me about Ardene and the rest of your family, I can see that you were cut from a very similar cloth, and
Oh,
you are
thank you.
a very generous and sharing and gracious person.
Well,
So
thank you for wanting to hear this and more. I thank you. So,
I appreciate it, and the thing is, I think that there'll be other people who will be really interested as well because enough time has gone by that some of the
oh, they've forgotten. I love that you do this because they have said, I'm afraid that nobody knows why we started this anymore. And they've been wanting. Lonnie says, "Why don't we just take our dean's name off that?" And his children are like, "No way, Dad." You know,
No, I mean, you know what? Here's how I feel. Like I feel whenever I've traveled around, most of the time I have my tennis racket with me. It's shocking the people that'll come up and talk to me just with the tennis racket in my bag sticking out. Like, oh, do you play?
yeah,
Do you? And you make friends all over the world just carrying
yes,
around.
it is. It's so true.
So even though I've never gotten to meet Ardene, I feel like she is a tennis sister because I can tell she loved tennis.
Mhm.
You love tennis. I love tennis. Anybody out there who
Yeah,
loves tennis is my tennis
yeah,
sister. And
absolutely.
I love my tennis community. And I think that this younger or new tennis community needs to know about Ardene as well. And so thank you so much for sharing her story.
Thank you so much. And if you have any other questions or want to details, just call me.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you again, Kautri. I love you.
I love you. Let me